Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Debrief. We've got a lot to get through. Let's go. He's done that before, hasn't he? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to One Leeds. Welcome back to the Debrief. We are one down. Yes, Brownie is not available this evening. We apologise, but we will be getting back to Sunday evenings, which is the new arranged time for the Debrief on Sunday evening. So make sure you're around about we agreed about 7:30ish. And someone said on the chat to me as well, Gabe, it's a disgrace that the Debrief is from 7 to 7:30 now, only half an hour long. Don't worry, it's either 7 p.m. or 7:30. We need to get it locked down.
I don't think we could be just a half hour. I don't think we're capable.
We do. There's too many rants on this, but yeah, we're here to talk about player recruitment, transfers, whatever. The new ownership, Radrazani's interview, Parag Marate's discussion today. I want to get Gabe's thoughts. I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below as well. Make sure you're pranging them in there. Let's get a couple in there. Gabe, good to see you. There you go. Gabe got some followers, mate. Hi, Connor and Gabe. Watching from Texas. There we go. There's been a lot of Americans in here recently. I thought a lot.
It's safe to come out again. No,
yeah, this is it. Good evening from Perth, Australia. I just came home from the Spurs West Ham game. Oh, of course, it's over in Oz, isn't it? Come back from Spurs West Ham game. Wore my LAFC shirt. Copped it proudly. Good man. Good evening all. Evening guys. A good day. Finally.
Is that Maximilian upping my book? Thank you, Max. Come on.
Yeah, buy Murder Baby by G. Look at that, Gabe.
I'm getting free publicity. It's amazing.
There you go, mate. Hi from Ohio. There you go. I'm telling you, mate. There we go. All Yanks are. I don't know if that was that. It could be an insult. Who knows? Good evening from North Korea, Arsene Wise. Yeah, wow. Probably the most... Yeah, I didn't expect to hear a North Korea one, to be honest. But yeah, probably the most out there.
They have access to YouTube, do they?
No, yeah, I was gonna say,
they surely don't.
You're only trying to figure something out in your head. It's like, I'm sure they don't.
I saw the gears working there.
Yeah, close to the border, maybe. Okay, mate. Let's get on to the main topic of conversation then. The takeover. Done. Signed, sealed, delivered. The 49ers take over Leeds United 100%. Confirmed off Andrea Radrazani and Asa, his company. Feelings, mate, overall?
I'm delighted. I hope this puts to bed some narratives. I'm really glad Parag got out and said some things about what he could and couldn't do as a minority owner. You've got about as much control over a company, a club, a consortium, whatever, if as the minority owner as like the son of a magnate does, like you can't really, you're sort of along for the ride. It's your choice to invest or not, but the majority owners are steering the ship. I was very pleased to hear him. And I don't think he didn't unprofessionally bury the previous regime, but I think he made it clear that there are some things that he wouldn't have done. And the biggest thing for me, it's pretty obvious. And I think Radrazani echoed this as well. That the changes of management, the player selection, this was a Victor Orta and Andre Radrazani thing. I hope it puts to bed forever this idea that the 49ers investment group are going to be looking to bring in American players, American managers, as if that's their priority. Their priority is to win and make money. And that means recruiting the best people we can for where we're at. And I thought that was really obvious with them. I loved what he said about if you're not doing the job, you're out. Yeah, I thought it was as good of, we're not going to go overboard here. Saying the right things and PR skills, it's a thing, right? But, if it's any reflection on how they plan to run things around here, I'm very pleased.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I think, it's a really good point you make in terms of the action needs to be put into place now. Obviously the rumours are they're pretty consolidated at the minute. That looks like Ethan Ampadu is going to be coming to Leeds, which is a fantastic signing. We need to, if that one gets over the line, it's a fantastic start. But I think with Leeds fans now, we're tired, aren't we, Gabe? And we're tired of dealing with just bullshit from Radrazani, from Jesse Marsh, to an extent from Sam Allardyce. I know it was a short period of time, but some of the sort of like media coverage he was giving, which was just a bit like, we don't need to hear from it. And I think what I really loved about what he was saying was, a good, essentially I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, a good chairman doesn't talk too much. And he's absolutely bang on. And that's what we want to hear, and that is fitting into, I remember Marsh always used to go on, and it's not to fixate on him, it's just about the last 18 months, which has just been too many people talking. Marsh used to fixate on this thing like he was from a certain part of America, which was working class, and it kind of fit with the morals of Leeds, and I never really felt that. But I think the moralistic side of this, when it comes to Leeds, and what I've always noticed with Leeds fans over the years, is it's just do your talking on the pitch. Leave it hard. Working class city. Just do your talking on the pitch. Working class club, and we don't want to hear that much from you unless you do something. And I think that was really, really clear from his interview, and something that I picked up on.
Yeah, and having working class roots, right, is something Jesse Marsh did have. I think that what we sometimes overstate is like that's a good thing to have in common with somebody in the beginning, and to establish some sort of familiarity. But at the end of the day, as you said, you have to get it done, right? So like you've grown up with people in your neighborhood. If that person annoys the hell out of you, you're not going to go out to drinks with them. Or if they keep telling the same story, it's going to get a bit old, right? And I think that's what happened with Jesse Marsh. And I think that's, what will happen with this ownership group if they don't deliver on the things they say they're going to deliver, which I think they will. I want people to see this, Connor. Look into the camera just for a second. I'm sorry, Brownie can't see it.
See my pretty blue eyes.
Yeah, so that face you all see is what it looks like when Connor is happy. Snap it, clip it. I want to remember this day. I think it'll go well. I really do. The sign.
Can we get out of context? The debrief won Leeds to start the Twitter account again, wherever you are, my friend.
Yeah, where did that person go? Yeah, so to be fair, I think I looked worse in that account than either of the two of them did. But I think that it's really, really encouraging. I think that the Ampadu is a great signing. The other signings we've been linked with, it's really hard to know out there, especially with Twitter right now, what's real. Most of it isn't. But I think let's look at the moves that have happened since the reins were handed over, even before the takeover was ratified. And they brought in a guy like Hammond, who is an excellent interim appointment until you get somebody else in place. They've just brought the guy from Tottenham. I know a lot of us will fixate on his time at Everton, but
Steinson.
Yeah, Steinson, that's right. The Ampadu signing, the fact that, and this is something I'm going to just sort of fixate on just a second. I don't think it has a major financial impact in terms of them investing money. But when you look at the list of those investors, Michael Phelps, NBA stars, NHL stars, they're bringing some stardom to Leeds United, which football players...
You can also tell us a little bit more about, like McConnell and people like that who I'm not really clear on.
Footballers, Connor, you'll know this, right? Everybody will know this. You hope that they play for the love of the game and the passion of the game. But at the end of the day, they also want to be they want to be treated like stars, right? And it's one thing to say, hey, right, we've got this new ownership group. We're trying to go back to the Premier League. We used to be a big club. We've just hired a guy who's taken us up twice, but has had maybe middling results since then. Not us up, but has taken a championship team up twice. It's one thing to say that and be like, we're just trying to get there, stick with us. And another to say, we have all this new money coming in. We've got a really, really solid guy running the ship while we get our permanent pieces. Yeah. And we have all these stars that are going to be around the club. Like, it's just a different, I can understand why a guy like Sinistero would say, I put one, if it doesn't go great this year, I can always leave the year after. Versus if we don't have that kind of, I thought it was really strategic for them to, it was going to happen anyway. But when the sale was ratified and they released the list of investors, I was like, that's good PR. Michael Phelps is a 28-time Olympic medalist. That's ridiculous. It seemingly has nothing to do with football.
Well, Carlos has just put as well, just in the comments below there, Russell Westbrook is one of the biggest earners in the history of the NBA. Jamie, thanks for your comment there. But yeah, and that's it, mate. And it's strange, isn't it? It's nothing like the Rob McElhenney or the Ryan Reynolds sort of, it doesn't feel like that because those two are, simultaneously running that football club, obviously with investors behind. But
I'm pleased that we don't have a situation like that, to be fair.
Yeah, I am actually. But the fact that, you've got Spieth, you've got Thomas, you've got, like you've said, you've got Westbrook, you've got Phelps, you've got big names. I think there was another one as well today in the NBA confirmed. He's in the background. I can't remember his name. But there's a lot of them in the background. And like you say, when you maybe a Tyler Adams and you're looking at some of these names that are now involved with the club, as just an example, that's going to be a massive influencing factor, because not only are they going to have influence, and maybe will be around the place every now and again, but they're also going to dip the hand in the pocket to bring Leeds United hopefully back to the big time. And I think that's in a strange way at the start you were a little bit like, there's too many arms here, there's too many arrows to this bow for it to be a clear shot or whatever. But now it almost seems like it's come together perfectly. And is it the guy, he's got a double barrel name today, I think, without any disrespect, it's something Klein, or is it Klein something or other? He was saying that today he's going to be apparently one of the major investors, and his family grew up in and around Leeds, and it feels like it's very personal, doesn't it, Gabe? And obviously you had Parag talking today about him being his own success story, not being a fifth gen multi-billionaire, in working the way up himself, and it all feels very sort of like from humble beginnings. Because I was saying this earlier on in the video, with Rads, we were fed this, and Rads did get us up to the Premier League, obviously, but we didn't really have an example before for Radrizzani. He'd never really been involved in a sporting club. It was a media conglomerate that he was involved in, and now you're actually looking at a scenario where these guys have picked up a franchise like the San Francisco 49ers in 2001, and they were in the doldrums, they were in the dark ages, and then they brought them into the light, and they're doing so well at this moment in time. And you've actually got a proper sporting example there, which you can compare with Leeds United, and you can say, look, this is what we could be like. Again, there's a lot of similarities there, and I think that's why I'm buying into this one a lot more. Yeah.
So personally, I hate American football, right? So I'm not a fan of the game. But the San Francisco 49ers were very similar in the 80s to what Leeds United were in world football. I mean, before Tom Brady, there was Joe Montana, who everybody would say was the greatest quarterback to live, right? I don't want to talk about this stuff too long. But this was a club that had faded from glory, a stadium that was in a state of disrepair, poor practice facilities, and a fan base that was disillusioned and very passionate, but disillusioned and hard to bring back on side. What makes me most hopeful about this group is that the business side and what goes on football out on the football pitch are going to be two different things. These guys are going to hire, and they have, and they're going to continue to do it, professionals that are gettable, but at the top of their grade. And we have to weight that for the championship, right? Obviously, they're not going to spend money to bring somebody like the Brentford link, right? Like you said this in a couple of streams, Connor, that you thought it was ridiculous that we were being linked. Yeah. And it was a ridiculous link. Why would you take multiple steps down, right? Because I know it looks on paper and on a table that the championship is one step down from the Premier League. It's not. It's 11 steps down from the Premier League. There are 10 other leagues in the world that are better than the championship, according to FIFA. And depending on how you rate leagues, it may be more, maybe less, but it's not a direct step down. So 100% Zach. I think with Parag and the 49ers group, we're going to see international marketing like this club hasn't seen before.
Yeah, globalization.
We're going to see. And I understand why, having lived in Leeds myself, I understand why to some fans that's going to be a little bit scary, right? It's going to make them a little bit apprehensive, and maybe they're not going to like it at first. But I also think that these guys are incredibly business savvy, and they're going to put folks in place and continue to put them in place that are going to make the best decisions for the club on the pitch. Parag is not going to do a Todd Bowley and think he can be an interim director. Like, Todd Bowley is a different class of billionaire, and
he is like a fifth gen.
He is like a fifth gen, and there's something about, I don't want to just get on here and billionaire hate, but there is something about that. You think you can do anything. This job is not hard.
It's a play toy, isn't it? It's a hobby horse.
100%. So I'm glad Todd Bowley got his 3 months of being a technical director or sporting director, or whatever he was, to feel like a big shot.
But I guess that's what he was saying, wasn't he? Parag was saying that,
he's not that guy.
He's not that guy, and his ultimate aim is to build a management structure that is going to, facilitate, the Premier League goal. And I love that it just seems like when he's talking, and this is, I always felt when Rads was speaking, it was very wishy-washy. It was a lot of like, it was qualitative stuff. It was stuff that it was like tangible. I couldn't really, whereas I feel and he was talking about the qualitative stuff today and the quantitative stuff. And you feel like with a proper management structure in place, actually, creating like a plan, a strategy, a framework, you feel that we're actually going to be able to do this quantitatively behind the scenes as well and really analyze the data and build leads up that way. And I actually liked how he was speaking about that in terms of Daniel Farke. He was also saying it from the other side, the qualitative side, where it was, we liked how his leadership, how he was speaking about getting sort of embedded with the city of Leeds and stuff like that. But we were also massively impressed with his numbers, winning the championship at a canter twice with an under. And this is what people, I don't know if you saw, but I reacted to like this second tier podcast thing.
For God's sake.
And I just,
fourth manager in the championship.
He just couldn't, but do you know what, Gabe? If you've got that opinion, that's absolutely fine. But your reasoning is the biggest load of bullshit I have ever heard. To reference his time at Borussia Mönchengladbach and his time, and this is coming full circle with Norwich in the Premier League. You can't do that because Norwich's record signing of all time.
Josh Sargent.
But Gabe, that's not of the Premier League campaign. That's of all time. Right. Norwich's record signing is 8 million quid. Now, to say we're about to spend 10 million quid on Ethan Ampadu as our first signing in the Championship window, Norwich did that in the Premier League, and you've got Parag coming out and saying, "Look, we're going to back him. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to be competitive." And you almost feel like even just the Ethan Ampadu signing is a bit of a gateway into that. So it was great to hear him discuss, what he was, and he kept saying, when we're going back to the Premier League, when we're back in the Premier League, we're going to back Daniel Farke, and that's crazy phraseology, but it's great to hear.
I think that in the short term, I think that Farke is going to be given plenty of time.
Yeah,
like this idea that he's going to get sacked at Christmas if we're not, high and flying, is false. I don't think that's going to happen. What I do see is once Farke has had some time to settle, and he's gotten what he's wanted in the market, I do think that once he's up and going, this ownership group is going to have standards that we want to keep. I think they understand that there's an uphill climb, but when they get to where they want to be and I do think it's going to be ruthless from then on. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be something that, again, some supporters here may find a little bit unsettling at first because they will be cutthroat. They want to make money. And I don't think that, again, like saying that someone wants to make money and that's why they're an investor doesn't undercut having a passion for it. I mean, the reasoning for choosing Leeds, I do think you were right to reference Wrexham. I think that's done a lot in terms of educating the United States, not necessarily the game, because I think that plenty of Americans know the game, but understanding the link between the communities and some of these clubs, especially clubs that only have cities that only have one club, like Leeds.
Yeah, I like that reference. I like that reference a lot.
Yeah. So I can understand why he'd be saying, okay, and for an investment opportunity, I get why they got involved in 2017, because they're thinking this is a club with a ton of history. It's a one city club, one club city. I keep doing that. And
slightly vexed me when he called us a town.
Well, it's just sort of a figure of speech.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I mean, have you been out to the Bay Area?
No.
Yeah, it's a monster. It's San Francisco itself isn't bigger than Leeds, but the whole Bay Area is sort of like one area. It's Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose, and Silicon Valley. It's mental.
Nice.
But anyway, long story short, I don't want to just keep rambling about this, but I do think we're going to see a dichotomy in how this business is run. We're going to. I would have been pissed off if he had said, "Hey, I wanted to see someone with a good tactical plan," because he doesn't know anything about tactics. He doesn't, and neither does really anybody in the new ownership group, I would imagine. What I would expect them to do is say, all right, results speak for themselves. This guy's taken us up twice. I have a consultant here that's working with me on the tactical stuff, but I want to know how he's going to help rebuild this club, because we are in the midst of a rebuild. Let's be real. The more and more I hear about how Victor Orta ran this ship and how Roger Zani ran things, just top to bottom, it's woeful. woeful. And what I like, you mentioned this a second ago, and I'll shut up in a minute. But what I like is that he was talking about Farke's never been backed. Bielsa was never backed, right? So it's a different prospect giving Farke as good of in-class tools in the championship as he can have, and then saying we're going to back him separately. That means that there are going to be some players that take us up that probably aren't going to be with us. And when you look at teams that have stayed up, like Fulham, that's what they've done, right? They yo-yoed a couple of times. They realized, oh, we need to upgrade the manager. Oh, we need to upgrade some of the players. Some of the guys are still there, like the Tim Reams and stuff, but they've really upgraded at the central midfield position, at the striker position. They've made these upgrades. That's what I heard when I heard of Parag talking. It was like, okay, yeah, we could just point to the Premier League lazily and say, well, he failed. Josh Sargent as your all-time signing. He's been fair in the championship, fine, but like you're not backing your manager if that's the case.
You're not.
Right?
No, you're not backing your manager whatsoever. And yeah, that's the problem. Daniel Agar, thanks for your donation, mate. Hey, Connor, right on working class. The future is bright, but I be missing the first game of the season as I'll be in Connecticut. Also, Tyler Adams as captain. Yeah, potentially, Daniel. Potentially. I mean, it's the ruthless streak Gabe was talking about, and I guess when you look, I mean, that's not from the ownership, but that would be from Daniel Farke.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see, and they've just confirmed as well, Steinson, the club, and they're discussing the restructure of the club apparently on the Leeds United Twitter site, is that what you say? I sound like an 80-year-old man.
Did you see the photo they put up of Angus Kinnear?
What, just today?
Oh no, it's on the site. It's on like who we are. It's
who we are. Is it a bad one? Well, I'll just briefly read this.
I wish you could put it up on the screen. I thought it was a piss take. I was like, that's really cruel. Like I thought it was a Photoshop.
Yeah. Following the appointment of Daniel Farke as first team manager, steps have been taken to restructure the football department within Leeds United. We are pleased to announce that Gretor Steinson has joined the club from Spurs in the role of technical director. He will work alongside Nick Hammond, who will continue to oversee the player trading throughout this window. Adam Underwood will step up to become head of football operations, whilst Hannah Cox and Rob Price complete the team. Nice to see a female in there as well. As head of football administration, head of medicine and performance. Chief exec Angus Kinnear said, "We welcome Greta to Leeds. We believe it will be a fantastic part of a new team, which has been assembled to support Daniel as we look to rebuild. Greta, alongside the rest of the group, will manage the football department during this critical period." Yeah, when Kinnear talks, I don't really listen, but listen, if Parag's speaking and like he was earlier on today, and we're getting some real structural updates from him, I'm definitely listening to that. And I think that's exactly what that's exactly where I am, Gabe, in terms of what he was saying. And I've just seen Ryan Dudley there, who's a fan of the channel, was discussing. We heard this from Radrazani, but I just that interview felt very different, I feel. And we'll see in the coming weeks. But I think Steinson, I think Ampadu, I think, if you're to believe links with Emmanuel Dennis and maybe Yoel Perot, if deals like that get done really quickly and we see a real difference with Leeds United, there's been talks today that Leeds have the option to maybe offer Willie Gnonto a fresh contract. If we're able to almost keep Sinisterra and Tyler Adams and they, I don't know, commit the future to Leeds United within the next 10 days. And then we see players coming through the door and some decent loan signings on top of that. That is the real action that I think we got from Radrazani in a sense, but it didn't feel like on an elite level ever.
Radrazani also operated on a very slow, nonchalant timeline. And one thing that I think was clear about Perot, did you hear him talking about how he makes deals and how he negotiates contracts? Like,
right.
No, not Radrazani, Parag.
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah.
I mean, and this is the thing. This is what it wasn't really so much with you or Brownie, Connor. I don't think either of you took this position. It was more in our comments like earlier during the year where we talked about the 49ers. Like, it's a different style of business, right? It's just a different way of operating. Radrazani was kind of a wait and see. Well, we'll kick the can down the road type of guy. Parag is going to go to these players like Gnonto who don't have release clauses. He's going to say, hey, listen, you stay with us. We'll give you a new contract and I will make you a king if you take us back up. But like, also, if you want to leave, unless the money's great, too bad. Honestly, like they will not hesitate to play hardball in that sense. Because why would they? Like, why would you give up Gnonto? Like, the number from Everton was laughable. Not because I think that Gnonto's this 50 million pound footballer, but we all, not us necessarily, but people mocked Southampton for putting a stupid valuation on James Ward-Prowse. It wasn't because they actually think he's worth that. It's to basically say, hey, we have no intention of letting an under contract player go just because we've dropped lower than the standard he wants to play. No, like, if you want him, come pay a stupid amount of money for him, and then you can have him. That's what I would say with Gnonto, with Adams, with Sinistera. Like, if you want these guys, if they have release clauses, you'll have to meet those. But if they don't, why would you let Willie Gnonto go for a song? All right, someone comes in with 35 million quid. You have no idea the player he's going to be. He's only really showed his potential. We don't know. He's 19. It could go one or the other. He could get a season-ending injury next year. You never know, right? So you need to see it year over year. But I would say, like, keep these guys. I mean, you tweeted earlier today about Sinistera, the things he would do in the championship. Good Lord. And no one's going to come in with a bid of 30 or even what we paid for Sinistera because of his injury record, right? So, I mean, if you have Gnonto staying, I think a lot of these guys could say, guys, we could earn a lot of money here if we get us back up. This, like, our merchandising and, our participation in the growth abroad could do a lot of, for like Tyler Adams. I mean, they would have his jersey everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
he said that, didn't he? He kind of said that. He was talking about Tyler Adams if he saw him down the Bay Area or whatever, the Leeds shirt on. Then
I think if we don't get up next year, I would say all those guys go. But
definitely.
But I can in the beginning I couldn't see a scenario where they would stay. But given the money that's coming into the club, and again, we're not going to be spending Todd Boehly money. That's never going to happen. But like, we're going to be spending mid-table Premier League money if we get back to the Premier League. When we get back to the Premier League, I like to say, and we're going to be spending high-end championship money. I mean, the best players and the best teams have the best players get the best results. That's just it. Sometimes that's not the case, but most, like 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, that's the case. Like,
of course it is.
So I don't know. I could see a scenario where they just say, guys, give us a year. We'll take care of you financially. Give us a year. And if we get back to the Premier League, great. If not, we'll let you go. But other than that, if they decide if their agents decide to say, well, no, I want my client to go, I want my client to get, like, I don't think Parag's going to be moved by that. He's not, there's going to be no, like, patting on the back favors for these players. Those days are done. It's a business.
Michael says, yeah, I agree. Ruthless is the word. Michael Pollard says, if we go up, will you have Brendan, Rocker, Diego, Rasmus back? I guess it depends on recruitment, doesn't it, Michael? Diego, Llorente, no way. Brendan Aronson, sorry, Gabe, no way.
Why did you say sorry to me? I've knocked Brendan Aronson way more.
I don't know. There's Brendan Aronson hype boy over there. Rasmus Christensen, absolutely not. But yeah, no, I think it's going to depend. If Leeds go out and get a midfielder, if Leeds go out and get Lewis O'Brien, and Lewis O'Brien is excellent for Leeds, and he's a left-footed player in that central midfield role, and he excels in the Championship, then I don't know. Do you bring Mark Rocker back, or do you look for Mark Rocker to, move on? You probably look at him to move on, and the other three, personally, I just don't think are good enough. Go on, Gabe. Are you going to comment on that?
Well, I think it depends. So some of those players are young players.
Yep.
Like, let's just stop for a second and ask ourselves: do we think that, like, before Marsh came in, right? And it came out today, like, Bielsa wanted to replace the squad, right? Yeah. Wasn't allowed to replace the squad. If Marcelo Bielsa had stayed, I think with that same team and with a lack of resources to, I guess Marsh was given resources. But the fact of the matter is, it was a difficult team. It was a difficult side, difficult year for the young players. I'm not saying that I think Aronson should be in the squad playing, but, like, if he goes over to the Bundesliga and has a great season, rebuilds some confidence, and, like, improves in some of the areas that he needs vast improvement on, like end product, actually scoring goals, then I would say, yeah, bring him back in, see how he does in preseason. And if not, you can sell him, 100%. But we need to recoup that value. And I think that some of the stuff I've seen on Twitter, like, don't want them back or screw you if they're doing okay in a preseason match. It's like, no, guys, it helps us if they go on loan and do well. Like, I think what's going to happen with Llorente is he's going to go out and he's going to get buried in the Roma bench for half the season. I cannot see Rasmus Christensen playing a significant role at Roma. I think he's probably, I have no idea. Maybe Jose has some kind of handshake agreement with somebody at Leeds or something. I don't know.
I think it's that as well, Gabe. There's a stand. There's just, and I know you watch a lot of the Bundesliga as well. You know, I watch quite a bit of Serie A, but for me, it's that being, you know, using that word again, being ruthless about it. I still think the Prem is miles ahead.
It's
miles ahead. So it's all well and good. You know, was talking about Rasmus and Llorente not being able to adapt in the Premier League, and Brendan Aronson not being able to adapt in the Premier League. Yeah. But if Leeds' long-term vision and expectation is, let's say, to be in the Premier League next year, and that'd be short-term vision, really, wouldn't it? I still think I'm with you. I think, you know, you nailed it at the end there, where you said, you know, if he does really well, assists, goals, hypothetically Brendan Aronson, you bring him back and then you sell him. You know, because I just don't. I personally don't think he will ever work in the Premier League attribute-wise, and I think it's the same for a lot of them, to be honest.
We've talked about this at length. I have real doubts about it too, just because of the type of player he is. I actually think he suits Bundesliga football a lot more than Premier League football. It doesn't mean he won't be a good player, but and maybe his body changes. Who knows? He's only 22, but like, yeah, I think you're probably right. I think this is why, to talk about some of the players that are coming back after loan spells, for me, like Cody Drama's a starter now. 2 seasons in a row, player for his respective club in the championship. It doesn't mean that I think if we were still in the Premier League, we wouldn't have to buy a seasoned right back at the Premier League level. Because again, we're talking about 10 levels below, not 1, 10 at least, right? So doing well in the championship doesn't mean that you'll be great in the Premier League. It means you'll probably do well in the championship again, or a league somewhere adjacent. Maybe you make the jump. It does happen, but it doesn't always happen. And I would say it happens a lot less than it does. That's why I'm going to look at a guy like Joffe, right? Who everywhere I go on social media spaces, people are making excuses for him as to why he doesn't score goals. Oh, they didn't set up right. Oh, they didn't play through him. Like he wasn't knocking in a lot of goals for Sunderland in the championship. What makes us think we would be able to plug him in at the championship level with a team with higher ambition and that he's going to light up the league? Like, that's why he wasn't getting game time in the Premier League. He wasn't doing great in the championship. I'm not saying he's never going to come good or that he's not going to have a good career as a footballer. If we have ambitions to go up right away, we at the forward position, whether you're playing in that off the striker or as the primary striker, we need someone to score goals, right? Yeah. So I would say outside signing versus a loan returnee versus a Drame who has proved it twice at this level that he's very, very good as a right back. That's a different kettle of fish for me. What do you think about the returning loanees?
The returning loanees?
Yeah.
What are we talking, like Lewis Bay? Are we talking?
Because I've seen a lot. I mean, I'm sure people in the chat are thinking about it as well. Is that, you know, they've seen one good preseason match and they're thinking, oh, you know, it's a meaningless preseason friendly.
Yeah. I hate this narrative. I hate it. Like, you know, and this is the thing, you know.
You were impressed with Joseph on the left. I couldn't hear like, maybe. Did you say you'd rather Joseph on the left than Gnonto after that?
No.
Okay. I misheard you. I was like, I need clarification today on that.
No. I said if Gnonto was to go, maybe advantageous for Leeds to give him a couple of starts on that left and see how he did. I thought he was decent on the left, really, when he was playing there against Man United as well. One of the standouts in that second half. But just answering,
remember how good Rasmus looked in preseason?
Exactly, yeah. Has this changed your prediction now, Connor, with where Leeds will finish? Not really, Scott. I mean, I said 6th. I don't think that's a bad prediction. I really don't. But it depends once again on who we bring in. You know, Leicester brought another player in today. Southampton have brought a fair few in. They've had the director of football and the manager in for longer than us. Leicester have had the manager in for longer than us. So, other teams probably. They started pre-season friendlies before Leeds United, so they're probably better prepared than us right now because of the takeover. So we've got to just wait and see. Leeds are playing catch-up at the minute, and you might not like that, but we are unfortunately playing catch-up because of what's happened. So we'll have to wait and see what comprises in the next couple of weeks.
Let me ask you a question, and you have to answer yes or no.
God. This sounds like a Brownie situation.
Well, we have to make him answer yes or no. He hates answering yes or no. If we keep Sinisterra, Gnonto, and Adams, do we go up next season?
It depends, doesn't it?
And they play all season. They're healthy.
Well, you're just saying yes and no, aren't you? So I can't.
I cannot see. Well, it does. I guess the real question is: does your prediction of 6 change?
Um.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're.
But you're a man like me who enjoys context. I'm not a yes or no man, really.
Okay, you can give yes in context or no in context.
Okay, right.
I won't limit you too much here. It's a bit of an unfair exercise.
Okay, because they've impressed me today, and if they get this first signing done, Ampadu, by the way, people are asking where he's going to play. He's not going to play at the back. He's hopefully going to play as a 6. Okay. They're essentially showing a bit of not only ambition there, but they're showing some real nous as well. Getting someone like him in, that's encouraged me a lot. So if let's say we kept all of those 3, and because we still need to add, for me, Gabe, we still need to add, especially at the back. I mean, we were speaking the other day. Our defensive line is horrible still, and they need enforcements there. Whether or not that's going to be Reece Oxford, Nat Phillips, maybe Ampadu, even if he was to, every now and again go at the back. I think basically, yes, but with context, you build from the back. They've got, for me, Gabe, listen, they have to get 2 keepers in. They have to get 2 goalkeepers in. And Melee is going to go, Rob Les has already left. So they need to get 2 goalkeepers in. So there's a lot they need to do with the rear guard. It's not, you can't just, I don't think you can go from the Championship just having a good forward line. So
agreed.
What you're kind of asking me there is very offensively based.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say is this: if we manage to keep Gnonto, Adams, Sinistera, we're not keeping Jack. Jack apparently has a low release clause in his contract.
It's been very quiet as well, hasn't it, with Harrison? I think he's clearly looking for a move as well. I think.
Yeah, and fair. I can't imagine us being able to keep those guys without focusing external signings in the area that we need the most, which is the back. I'm treating Cody Drama like a new signing. For me, he's the right back.
Well, he's a new signing, isn't he? So is Cresswell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the issues in our right back were, I mean, I don't want to just point out Luke Ayling, but it was bad. It was bad. Good depth piece, fine. Championship experience. But I think that's about his level. I think that Drama has some upside and has been really good in the Championship. So that, for me, that's right back sorted. We're good there. I do think Max Vober is a good center half in the Championship if we keep him. Like, again, we're not talking about one step down. We're talking about multiple steps down. I think in the Championship, Max Vober is a very, very good. I think he's a middling center half in the Premier League, middle to low relegation side, threatened side. But I think he's a good center half, and I think that he's really good in the Championship. Liam Cooper's serviceable, but I think we need to upgrade. I would like to see like a Nat Phillips or an Oxford, as you mentioned. And then I think the left back, again, I mean, how long are we going to say this? Needs to be sorted. I can't see Junior Firpo being our left back all season. But I think if we keep those guys, if we keep half of the guys that we expected to lose and bring in defenders, I can't see how we're not in contention to win.
Who would you be willing to lose?
Willing to lose? Well, Jack's gone. In my mind, he's gone.
Somerville?
I would be willing to lose Somerville if it meant we could keep Sinistera and Gnonto.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I think that both of those guys are better than him and have more upside. I think Somerville would really cook in the Championship. It'd be really vital, but I just think
more about like Greenwood, Gelhardt.
Greenwood's gone. For me, I hope they sell him anyway. I think, I'm not convinced he's going to be a player in a promotion-threatening side. Gelhardt, I would move on, honestly.
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah. Let's be clear here. I rate Tyler Adams really highly. I love destroyer midfielders. If somebody comes in with 40 million quid for Tyler Adams, we'd be stupid not to take it. Stupid. He is now, I will say, I've compared numbers. I spent a little while looking at his underlying statistics. His ball progression is not
like you. It's not like you.
Yeah, no, not like me at all. Well, because I do think that we have short-term memories, right? Like Tyler Adams, we're going to go ahead and say, a lot of people are going to say he's not good in possession. What they are trying to say is that he's not going to play a beautiful crossing ball or a beautiful diagonal right on the feet of somebody charging in from the wing.
That's not him. That's not his. That's not him.
It's not. It's not. He will not lose the ball. But it will be mostly lateral, some forward passes. His progressive stats are better than people think they are, but they're not elite. He was 4 players below Mark Rocca in terms of progression, right? In the Premier League last year.
Not that shit guy.
I actually, again, we'll see what this goes back to your previous question. Do we take Mark Rocca back? If he comes back, goes out there and has a phenomenal season and we get promoted, maybe we do. I don't know. But if he's, I suspect that Mark Rocca's legs are broken. That he just doesn't have maybe the pace.
Sorry, I've killed your point about Tyler Adams there. Go on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me rewind. 40 million quid I would take for Tyler Adams. So I'd be willing to lose him for that. But I would not be...
Anything less?
I think you have to take 35.
Okay.
Anything less than 35, no way. No way, because why would you do it? He is top 5 ball winner. Missed 17 games in the Premier League, in the best league in the world. Was one of the top 5 ball winners in the entire league. That, we keep talking about attributes. I've heard this everywhere. That it's replaceable. It's replaceable. That's not replaceable. The profile of ball winner is, but at that level, he does that better than most players in the world do. Right. Yeah. What he doesn't do is he has average numbers, which, by the way, average in the Premier League is above average in the Championship. So I think you're under less pressure. The players aren't as good. It's not a bad division. It's not the Saudi league. It's not MLS, but it's also not a top elite league. So a guy who's not so great in the Premier League at certain things is going to look better in the Championship doing them. Tyler Adams would look like one of the best midfielders in the Championship next year if he stayed with us. And I think that's a fact. I'll argue that with anybody, but I would take 35 or over for him because I think, he is a little bit injury prone, not hugely, but he has struggled with some injuries in his career. And I think ultimately he does have a ceiling. Maybe he gets a little bit better progressing, but if you need, not a lot of teams play this way. And I think that's why you say you can't see somebody coming in with 35 or 40 million for him, right? Probably because there are just fewer teams that play with an out and out destroyer, right?
There's no, anyway. I don't think there's no way. I don't think as well, like a defensive midfielder in the Championship goes for 40 million. I just don't think it happens. To be honest, but
he's not been a Championship midfielder. He'll go before he's played a bit of Championship football.
But you know what I mean? That valuation for where he is right now, because clubs would look at that, obviously, for a defensive midfielder, you just don't really see defense. I mean, Calvin Phillips went for 40 million, didn't he? So I could not see that happening, to be honest with you. I think that valuation is high.
On one hand, I understand the logic, and I don't necessarily disagree. What I would say is that relatively, they're going to judge a player by the whole of his career at 24. They were going to look at that at the World Cup. Statistically, he was one of the better central midfielders. I mean, you saw the job he did against England, right? I mean, pocketed some players that have a much higher valuation than him. Had a really good career at Leipzig. At the end, it didn't work out for him because his last manager didn't rate him. But before that, he was highly rated. So I don't know. I think that if you're Leeds, you don't lose him for any less than that. It would be negligent for me because I do think Leeds go up next year. Tyler Adams not as good of a player if they're in the Premier League versus if they're in the Championship. He's the same player. I understand the financial picture looks different, but I think it'd be really foolish to let him go for anything less than a high fee like 35 mil. If you let him go for 25 mil, he'll go to a Premier League team or an upper level Bundesliga team and be worth more than that right away. So,
yeah, I think in that case he's not going anywhere because I personally don't think we'd get anything over 30 for him personally. Mitch says we're not linked with any number 10s, which is vital in a FARC system, and we have never replaced Pablo. Would love share from I'd 100% love share.
We don't know who we're linked with though. That's the only thing I'd say to Mitch is that again, this is a different regime. It's not Victor Orta letting it leak that we're about to sign Cody Gakpo or we're in for Adama Traore again, and like this club runs itself professionally. You don't have, no disrespect, owners tweeting certain YouTubers who may or may not be in this live stream right now. Like that's never going to happen. Your days in the limelight, Connor, when it comes to that are
I can try it. I'll try it. Has he got a Twitter profile?
Like, right, Parag, you want to go for a bevy? He wants to go for a drink in Manchester with you.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'll follow him. Although I never followed Rads. Bit of there you go.
So you actually should have gone to his spam. Like if you're not following it, you should go to like a request folder. So that means that guy goes into his request folder. So God, it's pathetic.
There you go. Yeah, he was bothered about his image, wasn't he? You could tell that by the Sky Sports interview as well.
Had to have the last word.
He had to, didn't he? Yeah.
Surprised he had wine stains on his teeth.
Yeah, I'd love some wine stains on my teeth after the day I've had. But let's have a look. How many players do you both think we need in? I still think we need 5 or 6. You think 4? Yeah.
If we keep those guys, if not, obviously we need more.
It's only because I'm just looking at like the keeper situation as well. I think we need
2 keepers. I think
left back. I think there's an argument you need a couple of, well, probably 2, 3 midfield, maybe not 3, but 2 midfielders at least. We've got no midfield. We've got no midfield.
I think JB's going to be a good player for us this season. I think that our signing just now is a midfield player. I don't think he's playing center half for us.
Mm-hmm. Got to have depth, though, haven't you? I think. But yeah, like you said, I think maybe JB, Lewis Bate, hopefully. Hasn't Forshaw rejected?
Lewis Bate.
Forshaw rejected a contract or something like that. I'm pretty sure it is.
I don't know if he rejected it. I think he's just been considering it, right?
Yeah. Is Darlow any good? Yeah, not bad. He's all right. He's okay. But yeah, it looks like he's going to be going away with Newcastle to the States, if you're to believe Dubravka has just not shown up and Pope is injured. So I think he's going away with, so unless Leeds get a deal done before that.
Who else would you sell, Connor?
God!
If you were advising Parag right now, like who would you say we need to sell?
Bamford.
What will we get for him?
The Twix.
Brownie's not here to defend him.
That's what I'm saying. He's not here to defend
him. Brownie, if you watch this back, we've been agreeing a lot lately. So
talk to me about the championship season 5 years ago.
I checked up on him while we were talking. He's been tweeting about Bielsa.
Of course he has. Yeah, that'll be his entire evening. Yeah, Pascal.
Yeah, Pascal's got to go. I think he's broken at Leeds. Maybe he can revive his career somewhere else.
I'm so upset about.
Yeah,
so upset about. I thought
he has all the attributes, doesn't he? But he's
too timid, isn't he? He's too timid.
Well, also, Connor, as a center half, he does this. I can't remember how many times I talked about this last year. If things break down in the midfield, he just charges up at the guy with the ball. I've seen him do it. It's like he gets this deer in headlights thing and thinks his body tells him, charge. And it's bizarre because it ruins the shape of the center halves. He's either playing unbelievably or he's woeful. So,
yeah. Cheers to that again, Ryan. Top lad. I really appreciate that. Yeah. So I go Stroud. I go Firpo. Greenwood. Gelhardt. Paveda.
Oh, that's right. We still have Paveda on the books.
Bamford. Yeah, people tell because he had a good first half against Man United. They want him
starting. Oh, that's right.
Bamford. So this is what I mean, mate. I mean, I'm talking a lot of players there. I'm talking a fair few, and we've already let a fair few go. So it's a considerable amount.
Do you really think Meslier is going? Who is going to come in for him?
Yeah, but do you want him? Do you want him?
I think Meslier is fine for the championship. I do. Remember, he has played he's had a really bad season last season, right?
I can't stand the mistakes again, mate. I don't know if I can.
But has he always made those, like, not to the degree of last season?
I'd sell Meslier.
What would you get for him?
If they're going very under the radar, right? The 49ers. If they're going under the radar and making a top signing like they just have done in Ethan Ampadu, who's to say they don't go out and put some cash down for Sam Johnston?
Right.
And if they're to do that,
You do love
there's
Sam
no
Johnston.
way. There's no way anybody's telling me that they'd have Elan Mele over Sam Johnston.
No. I'm just saying,
Championship.
in the championship, I don't think if we start the season with Elan Melier, it's the same as if we started with him in the Premier League.
Again. I think you're going to get teams in the championship. We're going to play Millwall. We're going to play Coventry. We're going to play teams like this. And this is no disrespect to them whatsoever, because they're going to utilize this. I think they're just going to put, because the championship's so physical when it comes to set pieces, I think they're just going to put it on him. They're just going to put it on him when it comes to set pieces. And his handling and decision making is appalling. It's appalling. I want someone who's confident between
but
the
we
sticks.
also didn't have decisive center halves last season. We didn't have
a lot of individual mistakes from him, though, Gabe. A lot of individual mistakes.
No, I agree. But do you remember what it was like for a couple matches when Max Vober came at center half? We were so blown away by his play, not because it was necessarily that great. It was because the play of our center halves was so indecisive, strange, error prone, and bizarre. Like
it just comes back to the thing that you said at the start. If you're not doing your job properly, the 49ers will get rid of you. So
I agree. I guess what I'm saying is, because there's not a lot of resale value from right now. I'm not saying I don't want a new keeper. Yeah. I want a new keeper. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But if we started out with him with new defenders, there is such thing as a clean slate. Like Kepa Arrizabalaga is a great example. Looked absolutely shattered under Frank Lampard. For a bad Chelsea team, had a good season last year. So
how many have we got so far?
How many outgoes of it? By the way, is Jamie Shackleton still a Leeds player?
Sell. Get him down as well. Sell.
How about Leo Yalda? Would you sell him or keep him?
Keep him.
Yeah,
I'd keep Yalda.
I'd rather start him at left back than Firpo.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just like a left back. That'd be nice instead of a centre back.
This is a big question for you. I know we're all over the place, but I'll stop asking you random questions.
Costa.
Helder Costa's gone, isn't he?
Is he gone?
I thought he was. Or was that... No, never mind. So here's the question. Do you think that Charlie Cresswell has a future at Leeds? This is a big one, because I'm really torn about this.
Yeah, I do.
What do you think that future is?
I think next season on the right side, there's potential with him to be battling with one other signing that we bring in for that right-sided centre-back spot, I think. But it depends. I think there's a lot of expectation at the minute, because this isn't to offend anyone, but I think there's a lot of passion merchant thing going on where, Charlie was, an archetype defender where he was heading everything. He'd had his grandma, and he was a bit of a passion merchant, wasn't he? Even in the few games that he played for Leeds. He's a Leeds lad. His dad used to play for Leeds. I think Leeds fans love that. But when you're actually looking at the player, there was points at Millwall where he struggled. So I think that there needs to be development for Charlie Cresswell.
He struggled 10 divisions down. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah,
now, he recovered, and that says a lot about him. I'm really concerned about his physical attributes. He's slow.
Yeah, slow off the turn. He's definitely slow off the turn. Yeah.
He's slow.
I think there is a player there. I just think with him, the problem is Leeds fans have got this sort of thing with him now where they think he can just start and perform at the highest of level because he did well against Mikel Antonio in the Premier League. I think he did all right for Millwall. He did, but there was a big period of time where Gary Rowett wasn't using him, or where he struggled in the Championship. So there has to be expectation measured a little bit there. Just because he's a Leeds lad, we need to be careful with his development. And I think I'd keep him, but him competing with one other on that right hand side, I think is the way forward. What do you think?
On Joe's stream last night, shout out to Joe.
Yeah,
Lockie said this, and I thought it was the most sensible thing I've heard from a Leeds content creator in a long time. That if these youth players are good, they're going to win a spot in the side, and if they're not, they're going to be moved on. But we cannot give players charity time.
No, we can't.
And say, well, let's give them a run out. If they're not doing it enough in training to force their way in, I hate to tell people this, but Charlie Cresswell right now is not ahead of Liam Cooper. He's not. There's no way he is. Not yet. He had a rough start to his season with a middling championship side, right? So I'm not saying that the upside isn't there, but when I look at a no-nonsense center half who's an average ball player but slow on the turn, I wonder if he's going to get a look in the FARC system, and to be honest, whether he should. And if he's not going to, if you have a 20-year-old center half, you either loan him out, which I don't think he wants again, or you move him on.
I think there's a lot to be said as well for Farke not really being back by Norwich in the Championship, and him after getting, him essentially having to go and get like a Grant Hanley the last time he was in the Championship. I know Grant Hanley is well established in the Championship, but it reminds me a little bit of his attributes are very similar to that of Liam Cooper.
Do you think he's going to want a slow 20-year-old center half?
But it's just, I mean, the example there as well. Another one to put on that is Liam Cooper. I know he's club captain, of course he is. There's been a lot of discussion about that armband moving on. But like you said, if it is this ruthless turn from the 49ers, they don't give a shit about sentiment. There's too many fans who give a shit about sentiment. You respect what these players have done, and it was an incredible time, an incredible place, an incredible era, but they're not in the business of sentiment, hence why the 49ers have been able to establish themselves again and re-emerge again. And I think the previous owners were in the business of sentiment, and that's the problem. So when it becomes ruthless, that's what I'm all about. I love that. The Leeds need to be ruthless. We've been too nice for too long. Dash says Melier was class in the Championship. He couldn't trust our defense in the Premier League. Of course, they made a mistake with. Yeah, and there's a lot. Yeah, the goalkeeping staff and all that. It's all valid. It's all valid. But the question I pose, like I did to Gabe, was if Sam Johnston is available, who are you having between the sticks? And he is available.
Sam Johnston. Yeah,
you're having Sam Johnston. So if that's available, that's doable, then why are we talking about Illan Melier? If you're able to get a decent value for Illan Melier, even if you're having to cut your cost a little bit with him, then you go out and get Sam Johnston. That's ruthless. And that's what I'm saying. It's all well and good and I'm not saying get rid of everyone and start again. I'm not, because I want us to trust in Archie Gray. I want us to trust in Darko JB, Lewis Bate even, and Cody Drame, and give these kids a chance. But the reason the kids are getting a chance is because they're good enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, Drame's proven that he's good enough. And I think we have some others that are going to be worth a look. Just in the chat, I saw some questions here. When I say 10 levels down, I don't mean that 10 levels down in English football. I've already explained this, that the Championship is...
You did say 11 at the start, to be fair.
Well, it's 11th, and the Premier League is number 1. But yes, the 11th, ranked the 11th league in the world, and it is. Make a case for the Championship over some of the other ones, but it's a hard case to make. Yeah, it is what it is. I think I'm just saying that there are going to, for that brigade that wants all the old players gone.
Yeah,
I think that the big difference is going to be under Farke. That like if Cooper's starts, and he's going to start in pole positions, club captain. He's not good enough to be a starting center half in the Premier League, in my opinion, for a team that wants to be out of a relegation battle. But again, if you go 10 levels down in the Championship, there's an argument to be made that he's a good Championship standard. So I think it's going to be his spot to lose. But I think the difference in this regime from a Jesse Marsh regime, or a Sam Allardyce who just wants somebody with British blood, apparently, who can hoof the ball long. I think that if you're not using it, you'll lose it.
But who's Cooper partnered with and went up? Ben White.
Yeah.
So it's all well and good starting Liam Cooper, but you also have to have a ridiculously competent centre back for him, next to him. And this was three-ish years ago. You have to have that person next to him. And I think probably he suffered in periods as well, being next to Robin and next to Pascal, because they weren't of the level of Ben White.
Where would we be if we had somehow managed? I know it was never going to happen, but where would we be if we had kept Ben White?
I mean, Ben White's the best centre back I've ever seen at the club. It's that simple, that how good he was. But this is what I'm saying. So a lot of people were, he was, I mean, Cooper definitely helped him in terms of experience, but Ben White was just Rolls Royce. He was just incredible for Leeds United in that period. And he, him and Cooper's synergy was very, very good at that point. But I think Ben White's quality will have aided Cooper a lot, but Cooper's maybe leadership skills helped Ben White at an early age. So that's it. You need the cohesion, you need the synergy, you need that right partnership at the back. And that's what Daniel Farke and if you're talking about Liam Cooper starting week in, week out, you cannot start him next to Charlie.
I just think that what I'm saying is that new signings aren't going to automatically just get put in the team. And Liam Cooper isn't automatically going to get a start week in, week out. But when the race begins, you would expect the captain of a team that was in the Premier League for 3 seasons to still be in contention to start. Farke is not just going to bury, unless he says to him, hey, you're not in my plans, we're going to move you on, which I don't think is going to happen with Cooper. There's not been a lot of chatter for that. So
a lot of people asking if I'd said Ben White was better than Radaby and Ferdinand. Unfortunately, because of my age, I didn't see that much of Radaby, Ferdinand and Woodgate, not as much as I'd have liked. And I've got my analyst head on and saw Ben White for a lot of my younger years. So I was able to really...
Rio Ferdinand was better than Ben White.
Yeah. I mean, there's an argument. Well, Woodgate went and played for Real Madrid, so yeah. I mean, when we're talking levels, of course, but listen, I'm not sitting there. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch hours and hours and years like you lucky gits of those 3 players. Okay, Cooper barely played, was injured most of the time. Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
again, let me reiterate: we need signings at this. I was the one on this channel talking about how bad our center halves were. I'm not advocating Liam Cooper staying in the squad. What I'm saying is we're facing facts that unless we sign 4 new center halves, it's not going to happen, right? That Liam Cooper is going to be in contention for game time.
Yeah, I think Cooper's staying. I think Ayling's going to stay. I think Bamford is probably going to stay, unfortunately. But I do think... I mean, written down there, I've probably got about 7 or 8 players that I think should leave Leeds, and we've already had 5 go out the door. This is what I mean in terms of recruitment. You got to get some of that back. You got to get some, unless we are looking at keeping Poveda and Costa. But if I'm listening to this guy today and he's talking about being ruthless and he's talking about being aggressive, and he wants us to go straight back up, and he's talking about us going straight back up, there's no room for sentiment anymore. I'm done with all of that. To be honest,
is Harry Christie still a Leeds player?
Who?
Harry Christie.
I remember Christie. Was he a centre back?
Goalkeeper.
No idea who he is.
Diogo Monteiro.
Yeah, he's centre back, isn't he? We got him last year, Portugal, under 18 captain, but he's never played for the first team.
All right, I want to see. I guarantee halfway through the season, someone's going to be calling for Joseph Snowden.
Yeah, probably.
Bring in Snowden. He's going to be better than these bums. That's what we tend to do this. I think this is my larger point. We tend to do this. I don't know a whole lot of people that have seen, that watched. What's that? Yeah, in general, I don't know a lot of people. No, I don't know a lot of people that watched Millwall a lot last season, right? Like, I got some games in the championship because I'm weird.
Who'd you see? Who'd you watch? Grimsby?
Shut up. This Grimsby thing is going to haunt me forever. It's too good.
I had to say all someone in the chat was going to say it.
Yeah, it's too good. But I got to tell you, like, I watched as much championship as I could last season, which was maybe like 5 or 6 matches in total. A couple of them were Millwall. Wasn't greatly impressed by the standard there. So, like, again, I think we need to face reality that even though if we were in the Premier League, there would be desperation to get a guy like Liam Cooper off the books. But you take a jump down 10 levels to where the championship is, like, Liam Cooper's going to play some games for us unless he's hurt. He's going to play some games, whether he's the starter, whether he's playing in cup matches. You don't go from being the captain of a Scarborough versus Harrogate. Cheeky you.
Talk says they got to go, man. It's just not good enough. We carry on about guys that give 100% and treat them like trash, but protect these guys that give 70% effort and produce 0, 8, 19, 20. I think Talk's a fellow American as well. We've had him on the channel before. That competitive edge that you Americans have. There you go. Nathan says you got there before me, Connor. There we go. Quick off the draw today, apparently. But yeah, mate, I think, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, go on then. You don't need to go through the whole list, but if you just give me a number, how many players do you think will leave Leeds, or how many players would you like to leave Leeds in terms of players that just aren't good enough?
I mean, all the players I just kind of rattled off there, I would get rid of as well. But realistically, I can't see us having more than, I think maybe 4 or 5 additional players depart.
Jesus, really?
In a single window. I mean, we've already sent 3 out on loan, or is it 4 out on loan?
It's a good point, to be fair, when you say a single window. You can't get rid of 15 in one window.
No, you can't. And there are financial fair play rules, aren't they? So
yeah,
like you
that
can't
could be,
just...
that could be a reason why you get rid of Elan Melee as well, and they're maybe hoping to get rid of him as well, so we can still. The restraints you have in this division are an absolute nightmare. I remember being so excited getting to the Premier League and also having that, just having that freedom. God, it's an absolute nightmare. Coffee is soup says, what I'm saying, Gabe, the majority of teams in this league rank higher, top 3 aside, aren't going to be that different to what Leeds will face in the champ. In Mayo saying 11 reflects this poorly. Okay, there you go.
Coffee, can you say that in another way in the chat? I'm not sure I 100% followed. I know it was a long message and you might be on your phone. So
if you got that straight away, if I just said that to you and you just got that straight away, I'd have been highly impressed. Cheers, coffee soup anyway. But yeah, if you can put that a different way,
put it back in because I do want to answer. But
sell Harrison. Yeah, I think Harrison's going.
Yeah, Harrison's
but yeah, let's leave it there, mate. It's been an hour and 5 minutes. Guys, thank you so much for joining. The debrief will be back every Sunday from 7, we'll just say 7 o'clock. And yeah, we're going to be able to go across the games a little bit more refreshed because you presume they'll be on either Sunday day or Saturday. So it's going to be fresh in our minds. So that's going to be enjoyable to get our teeth into. We're back here every single day with the room meal and some bonus content. If you want to check us out on TikTok, getting down with the kids, Gabe, check me out over there, One Leeds FC, and we've just got like little short updates on Leeds United. So, Gabe's been an absolute pleasure. Cheers for joining, and everybody, Gabe, go on before the outro. What do they need to do before going?
Hit like and subscribe to the One Leeds Fan Channel. Oh, and join the Patreon to see Connor argue with his dad.
There we go. Yeah, and it's always a good one. He's always extra nice on camera, but off camera, he's
slags you off.
Yeah. It's very negative off there, But guys, thank you so much. Appreciate that, and we will see you in a bit. Cheers.